Well, hello, thanks for joining me today. We're looking at the grade 7 C1 piece, The Watermill. This is a very charming piece of music, but it's quite tricky to play because of the left-hand part, because we've got these broken chords with quite low notes at the beginning of each bar. Back to there, then down to the A flat. So at speed that becomes quite tricky because we've got 88 crotchet beats in a bar. No, we haven't got 88 crotchet beats in a bar. We've got 88 crotchet beats a minute, giving us that tempo. And of course, we've got to play that very softly at the beginning as well. So we've got a lot of challenges here. I'm going to attempt to play it for you so you can hear it, and then we'll break it down afterwards and discuss the ins and outs of how to go about learning it and what to do. Okay, so here we go. So let's go back to the beginning now. The main thing to keep in mind for the first page and further into the piece is that there's a melody which you've got to preserve. So when you're playing this bit, try to really lean on the melody. Be aware of it. And of course the crotchets are lasting while you're playing the semiquavers. And same again. And then of course carrying on. So I'm sort of leaning on the top part of the phrases, the melody notes. Otherwise you're going to get a very choppy sound if you play everything the same volume. So just be mindful to lean on the melody. Obviously it's quite legato. Try and keep it as legato as you can. I'm trying to really make my thumb very, very light. And even if you play the later sections where it's louder, the same rule applies. Proportionately, you want the melody to sing out. So in bar 5, when it's MF, I'm still leaning on the melody. Really trying to bring that out. Okay, so that's the main point about the right hand for the whole of the first page, actually. The left hand accompanying idea is a bit tricky because it's got quite a few jumps. Down to that D flat. And then that one there, you'll have spotted this. best advice I can give you for this is just to practice it very, very slowly. You could even set up a metronome eventually just to practice it. You know, you could just have a tempo set at a slower speed just to work on that, or just practice it yourself slowly and build up a looseness in the hand, because if you're immediately going in trying to play this fast, you know, there might be some tension there that you need to address. Okay, so that's the first page really. We've discussed the key points here. Be aware of the graduated dynamics. We've obviously started pianissimo. You can use the left pedal if you need to. That soft pedal might give you that extra edge. If you haven't used the soft pedal much in your playing, this might be a good time to consider doing that, because there's all these different gradients in this piece. You know, you've got MP later at the bottom of page 1, pianissimo, you know, MF and forte, all within that first page. So you might need to practice the beginning of each of those 4-bar phrases. So let's say you started the first bar pianissimo, now MF, now forte, and then MP. What does MP sound like? You know, you need to know what differences there are in the velocities there. So it's not a bad idea maybe just to practice the first bar, bar 1, bar 5, bar 9, bar 13, and compare your dynamic playing to each of those bars. Now, there is a page turn here, which I don't think is too problematic, provided you fold your page up enough to grab it. When you get to that last couple of bars on the page 1, you've got time to turn the page if you practice that. You know, I actually like to use my left hand to turn the page, so I'm actually playing. I'm letting my right hand playing. Sorry, excuse me, my throat's playing up. I'm letting my right hand play the last note on that page. It makes sense to use the left hand to turn the page, I think. The other alternative, of course, is going, but to me that's much more awkward, grabbing the page with the right hand. I prefer to use the left hand. But you really need to practice that. So practice this early on so that it becomes a thing you can do quite easily. I would also recommend sort of trying to memorise some of this. I recommend memorising anyway, usually, if you're learning a piece properly, to try and test yourself, play it without the book. How far can I get before I've got a problem? The very beginning of page 2 is a contrasting section. So we need to make sure that we go into this with confidence. So as you're turning your page at the end, you need to know that your left hand's going to B flat as the first note. So then my left hand immediately arrives there, there's no issues. So we carry on from this point. Suddenly there's a melody in the left hand, which has to be heard. So fairly straightforward section, isn't it? We've got some arpeggio figures going on, all played legato. Make sure when you play these arpeggios that you have a lightness towards the end of each of them, so that kind of coming offness, that coming off on the thumb is very important to create that looseness. That's the sort of sound you want. So it's a very kind of gentle, caressing sort of. I'm playing it without pedal and it still sounds quite nice. I mean, I like pedaling this because it just sounds a little bit more romantic. I'm tending to pedal each. No, I'm not doing that. I'm tending to pedal each note. So So every time there's a left hand note changing, I'm tending to pedal there. That's what I do. So by the time we get past that section, we're really recapping at bar 33 the same idea as what we did at the beginning. This is now piano. Sorry, excuse me. This is now piano as opposed to pianissimo. So. And once again, make sure your left hand is never too loud. If you're starting to do. There's always a danger the left hand can be a bit bottom heavy if you're not careful. So you need to make sure when you practice the left hand, practice it slowly but also delicately. It's a very tricky thing to play properly, and I've not done anywhere near enough practice on this really to show you, but you will, because you're going to be taking your exam. So we then get to a point at bar 41. We've just got to remember at bar 41 it's suddenly loud there. I'm still trying to bring out the melody, you know. Is that right? Am I doing that wrong? Yes, okay, and that's it. That's basically it. So we get to the end of that section. And we reach a key change and also a slightly calmer moment. So you could practice up to this point, let it settle for a while. You know, we've done a substantial chunk of the piece now. But picking up from bar 49, we're now in A major temporarily. Straightforward stuff, just tender, gentle. I mean, actually, there is no dynamic marking at the beginning of that section. I instinctively played it quieter than the section I've just come out of. It just sounds like it needs to be a little bit more delicate, perhaps, there. And then there's scope to maybe put a crescendo in. From bar 57, you get a sense that something is building. Oops. You know, you can sort of feel that seems like a musical thing to do. And then it feels nice just kind of sort of just easing off the last couple of bars. No repeats are needed, remember, in the exam. You go straight through. You don't have to repeat that section. We return then back to our original key. D flat major, but we're actually starting on the dominant chord, A flat. And that's what we're doing. We're pedaling that bar, coming off on the last note. And then a bit louder, just slightly. That's that one. And then the same sort of idea to begin with. Nice bit of contrast there, staccato on that last bit. And of course we have the writ as well. I tend to pedal actually that third phrase. So, you know, we've got the first one. And then we've got the next one pedalled all the way through the bar. And then I tend to instinctively want to pedal a bit of this as well. Then I come off on that bar. To me that sounds quite nice. This is a fairly easy place for a page turn, isn't it? So now looking at the last page, we've got the same kind of idea as we've had earlier, but this time it's starting forte, and halfway through at bar 81 it's piano. So we're doing kind of the opposite dynamics of what we did earlier. On the earlier section, if you go back and look at bar 33, that started piano. And then it got at bar 41 loud. This is the opposite. So you've got to kind of undo what you've been doing earlier to get through this section. So we've got forte. And I'm trying to get a good first note in the bass. Because it's loud, we want a fairly strong first note in the left hand as well. You don't underplay it. You know, there's a danger when you snap at it that you underplay the note. It's got to have a bit of weight. That helps make it sound very grand and very big. Okay, so we get to bar 81. We've got the contrast. Still trying to bring out the melody. Always trying to do that. And then back to... actually, I've just noticed something here. It's... bar 79 was still loud at this point. So you've just got to be mindful that that piano creeps in there in the midst of that kind of overall phrase. And then, of course, at bar 83, we're still piano. So that last section is straightforward, isn't it? It's just nice and kind of calm. Pedaling each bar. I sometimes pedal twice in the bar, but actually, you know, on the crotchets. But actually, you know, it does say pedal throughout each bar. So it gets a bit blurry there, though, doesn't it? I was pumping the pedal twice in the bar on the crotchets. Slightly cleaner sound, but smorzando, so I think that's dying away there. Although there's no written in there or direction to slow down, it does feel natural to just kind of pull it to a close by slowing down a little bit there. I hope this has been useful to you. Good luck if you're trying this one out. It's not the easiest one to try out of the grade 7 pieces, but a good challenge nonetheless. So I've got 2 more pieces to work through and then I'm done with grade 7. I've got C2, C3, then I'm on to grade 8. Which will be very interesting. So stick around if you want to watch some of those videos. If you've not subscribed but you find these videos interesting, please feel free to do so because that helps the channel. So anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye for now. So now looking at the last page, we've got the same kind of idea as we've had earlier, but this time it's starting forte and halfway through at bar 81 it's piano. So we're doing kind of the opposite dynamics of what we did earlier. On the earlier section, if you